Um, this is Constable Tony Vella. We've been having a few different incidents where people have broken in or attempted to break into houses where in the past week 2 young girls were involved. What should residents of Toronto
think about it. Like, imagine you're at home and all of a sudden you're in your basement and you look up, you notice it's cold, you look up at the window and there's a hand through your window. Imagine that traumatic type of experience. That would be, for anyone, that would be a shock, be frightening. And the big question is, what do you do now? So in these 2 cases, actually, we're looking at, the first case was an 11-year-old girl. The second case, it was a 16-year-old girl. So imagine you're that young, you're out, you're in your own home, and all of a sudden you see that hand. Very traumatic. So in these 2 cases, the girls screamed. And when they did so, the man fled the scene. So he ran away from the scene, but the other thing as well is this, in the second case, the family members of the 16-year-old girl actually saw the man running away from the house. So the big question is, so two big questions in this case is, who is he? And if he did get into the house, what was he going to do? And that's something that we don't know as yet. But I can tell you that the sex crimes unit has taken over the investigation. We're going to see if he is linked to any other cases as well within the city. And the one thing I always strongly recommend people do is ensure that your windows are completely locked. Like this man, he cut the screen of the window. So he cuts the screen, but now he actually has the window. He somehow popped those 2 windows open. How did he do that? So you want to make sure when you close your windows, ensure that they're actually locked as well. That's big. Number 2 is, one thing, you have to be neighborly. You have to. If you do see someone suspicious, and you see your neighbors every day, you know the ones that you've never seen before. If they're acting suspiciously, call police. Don't hesitate, call 911, because a lot of times when you do that, that can prevent a crime from happening.
Now, both of the girls screamed, and that chased the man away. Yeah. There's also been cases where young people have been attempted to be abducted from the streets. Does screaming help in that case also? Oh yes. You know what? One thing that criminals hate is attention. They hate the attention because they're trying to commit a criminal act, and they want to be discreet about it, right? Because they know if someone starts to scream or fight, eventually the police are going to be called, and then they can be captured. So the worst thing they hate is the attention. See, it all depends on the situation, right? Every situation is different, right? But if you're capable of fighting back, screaming, yelling, like for example, if you're walking down the street and someone is following you, and you know that person's following you, run into a storefront, yell, scream, do whatever, create the attention. Because when you create that attention, most likely the person will run away. But you have to safeguard yourself. The other thing too is when you look at your house, ensure there are no bushes around the basement windows. Because what they're looking for is they're looking for closure. They want they want something to block them from the general public. So when they break that window in the basement, there's like a bush there that will hide them from the public. Cut that. Ensure that's visible from the street. If you have an alarm system, use it. Think about it. Do you have an alarm system? I don't have an alarm system. No.
You know what? I have an alarm system. I don't use it. Like, I don't use my alarm system. I live in a condo and I don't use my alarm system. I'm going to. Because, you know what? That little bit helps, right?
Well, much of Toronto live in condos, and we assume that people aren't going to just come in and do things.
You don't assume, and you should never assume. Like, so for example, I have a condo, I live in a condo, but I have an alarm system. I have the keypad right beside the lobby of the door, but I don't use it. But you know what? I'm going to use it, because why not use it? That little extra protection is going to help. So if you have an alarm system in your house, use it. It's important to use it. If you are going to get an alarm, great. Any little bit helps to protect you and your family. And the big thing is always call police.
And in this kind of situation, this is definitely a 911 call.
Definitely. Because you want the police to attend immediately. This is not, police need to be there within seconds, because otherwise this person's going to leave. So if you call the non-emergency number, it could take half an hour, it could take an hour, by then the man's gone. So you want the police to report, you want them to attend quickly. But the whole thing is, remember, it's a very traumatic experience. You're in your own home and someone's breaking in. Right. It's traumatic. The question is, who is he? What's he up to? What's he want? and that's something that we're still trying to figure out. But for you, you live at home, ensure that your windows are closed properly. Lock them. Make sure they're locked. Note any suspicious activity. Call police immediately. If you have an alarm, use the alarm. Know your neighbors. Get to know your neighbors. You live in a neighborhood, create a neighborhood watch if you don't have one. Because we all have to be neighborly, we all have to protect each other. And it's, you know what, it's a group effort. It's not an individual effort, it's a group effort. So take part. Create your own neighborhood watch.
And one other question about the screaming. When kids scream, people ignore that a lot of times. I mean, you get used to kids screaming at their parents and all that kind of stuff. Is there something a child should say when they're screaming?
Well, you know, you could always use a buzzword, a code word. So if your kids, if you're in trouble, say help. Use the word help. We're in a scream, help. And practice it. Because that way, you know what, no one, like, if you hear a scream compared to help, you know, that's clear. I need help.
Now, I've also heard fire is a good word for kids to scream.
Fire is good, but I would say I need help. Because you need the people around you to know you need help. Because if you say fire, then I'm next to you. I would think maybe it's a fire. I'm looking around for a fire. But if you say I need help, I know you need help. Like there's like it's so clear. Like it's so clear you can't get around that one. It's I need help. So if I were you, I would teach your children. If you're in a situation, yell I need help loudly and practice with your kids. Because the reason you practice with it, so when it not when, but if, hopefully never, but if it does, you could say. It's all a mental thing. You'll just spit it out. I need help. That's the whole thing. And so, you know what? It's a little bit of education. Protect yourself. Life's too short. You know, you hear about tragedies every day, right? So if you could protect, and you know what? You hear about tragedies every day, and you'll say, "It's not going to be me. It's not going to be me." Right? It's not. I say that myself. You know, you hear about traffic fatality. It's not going to be me, but you never know, right? You just never know. So safeguard yourself, protect yourself, and educate. Let's educate each other.